of not A or B implies not A and not B, right? So, of course, the first line of our proof is always whatever our premise is. So we've got not A or B, which is our premise. We can't use simplification on this one, right? There's no ands. So we're like, crud, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. I need to figure out some way to get the right side, right? I mean, I'm starting with the left. I need to get to the right so that I could use CP to say that I have it. You guys with me? Yeah? And I don't see any hope, so I'm going to try IP, proof by contradiction, right? Because there's no arrows in here, right? If there were an arrow in the right side, maybe I would think about using CP and assuming the left side and proving the right side, right? There's no arrows, let's try IP, right? And I could assume not of the whole thing, but since I see an and in there, it might be easier if we just try and do, let's see, if we try and do not A. So we try and assume not A. Maybe I'm doing this wrong now. Let's see. It looked so elegant a minute ago. Let's try it. Let's suppose that I want to do a subproof, and I'm going to assume not A, right? Which would be my premise for not A by IP, right? And the stuff in the parentheses is just the telling you the what I'm trying to do ahead of time. You guys with me? Yeah? Okay. All right, well, I have a double not. Of course, the first thing I'm going to try is double negation. So line 3, that becomes A based on line 2 and double negation, right? Now, if I'm doing proof by contradiction, right, I'm trying to find a contradiction. So can you guys see where maybe I could head? I mean, look what's above me, right? I mean, the only thing I have above me is this one, which isn't going to help me get a contradiction because that's the same thing, right? Or this one, which says not A or B, right? If I know A is true, can I get a contradiction? How would I get a contradiction with this? I'd need a not A or B as well as an A or B, right? Can I get an A or B in my subproof? You bet, right? By what rule? Addition, right? Add, right? So I could say, all right, let's see, and this is my kind of indented stuff, right? So line 4 is, I could say A or B based on line 3 in addition, right? But now life is good because I can conclude false based on line 1 and line 4. And what's the name of the rule? Contradiction, right? You guys with me? Which means I can say, what was I trying to do? I did not A, which means I can conclude not A, right? Based on lines 2 to 5 and IP. We're halfway there, right? We got to repeat the same exact process, right? To get the subproof to prove not B. Okay. So let's try that. So we've got, let's see, I'm going to do another indentation. So here's line 7. There's where it would go if it wasn't indented. Ooh, I can't go too far over here. Let me find my eraser. Move over a teeny bit. That's what's still on the screen. So here's line 7. I'm going to indent, and now I'm going to assume not B, which will be my premise. Oops. Premise for not B, right? You You guys good? You with me? Right. And so now we can do exactly the same thing. We can say, well, I can get B based on double negation in line 7, right? So I can get A or B based on what? 8 in addition, very good. Which means I can get false because I've got 1 and 9 and contradiction. Right. Which means I can outdent and say I've got the opposite of this not B, right? I've got my not B that I proved based on what lines. Now this is the important thing. When I'm using IP, I gotta use the dash, right? I gotta say I can't use these lines anymore, right? So I can no longer use lines 7 through 10, but they did pretty well, right? So now I can say, well, I've got not A and not B. How did I get that? What lines? It's conjunction, right? And which lines? Yeah, we got 6 and 11. And conjunction, which means we can have the whole thing, which is not A or B implies not A and not B based on, what do we got? We got line 1, skip the stuff in there, line 6, right? Skip the stuff in there, and line 11 and 12. And what rule? CP, yeah.